Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Genevieve and I make videos on things that I enjoy like mental health, hair care, dogs, music, and more. Today we will be talking about a hard thing. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about OCD today, Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, and my experience with it.
Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. OCD is an anxiety disorder. Here is the official DSM-5 definition. Please pause the video if you want to read it.
My therapist asked me to give my anxiety a character, so I chose Lemon Grab from Adventure Time. If you know, you know.
The arrival of the Earl of Lemon Grab.
This castle is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable!
I think it's important to talk about mental health because mental health is important. There seems to still be some sort of stigma around the topic of mental health. This is a hard one to talk about, but let's get into it and take a look into my brain. It's a pretty day to take a walk. Oh my gosh. What if one day I can't walk? Or what if one day one of my loved ones can't walk? Or I get cancer? What if I die early? What if I get dementia? What if I lose my mind? My God, why is my brain so messed up? These are only a few examples of intrusive thoughts that I've had. Now you might be thinking, intrusive thoughts, that's so common. Everybody has them, right? I think to a certain extent, everybody does experience intrusive thoughts at one point in their life. God bless anybody who has never experienced an intrusive thought at one point in their life. But what identifies people as OCD is how we cope with those intrusive thoughts. Which brings us into the topic of compulsions.
Compulsions.
It's how one reacts to the intrusive thoughts that can determine whether it becomes a problem or not. These intrusive thoughts become obsessions, and the only way to cope with these obsessions are by acting out in some sort of way, otherwise known as a compulsion.
Unacceptable!
I've experienced intrusive thoughts pretty much my whole life, but it didn't become apparent to me that it was a bigger problem than how I perceived it until the past year. It was really, really bad, and I went through such a hard time because I felt like I couldn't talk about these thoughts with anyone. So I just went on with my life, trying to ease it the best way I know how. And this brings me to the first compulsion of mine, which is research. I started researching what these thoughts meant, trying to find out if anybody else was experiencing it. Then I came across a lot of things on the internet about OCD, and that is the first time that I suspected that I had it. My therapist at the time basically suggested that I just had anxiety and that I need to learn how to cope with my anxiety, so we started doing cognitive behavioral therapy, and it seemed like my anxiety wasn't getting any better. After that, I kind of just felt discouraged and moved on with my life, and I seemed fine. I felt fine for a few months, and it wasn't until the past couple of months when coronavirus started happening that I realized how much these obsessive thoughts were affecting my day-to-day life. Now, I want to mention that a big part of me not assuming or not thinking that I had OCD was because I always pictured people with OCD having compulsions such as washing your hands over and over again or flickering the light 5 times in a row, and that wasn't my case. So I just went on with my life thinking, oh, that's not what I have. But something that's not talked about a lot is that OCD can very much be internal and that compulsions can very much be mental. So one thing that I use to cope with my anxiety is research, reassurance, and ruminating. Researching kind of ties in with reassurance. However, it's a little different because reassurance can be through people in your life. But researching for me has been one of the biggest problems with my anxiety. I tend to Google almost everything when it comes to health, when it comes to my thoughts. That gives me a sense of ease. And and makes me feel like I'm not alone. Same thing with reassurance.
Reassurance.
Let's say I go to my mom about these thoughts that I'm having and that I'm really scared about it. I have gone to my mom about thoughts that I'm having and that I'm really scared about. And she reassures me that everything's okay and that I'm okay. And then I feel okay.
Rumination.
And then the ruminating part is when an obsessive thought happens or an intrusive thought, and I try to analyze it and try to figure out why I'm having the thought or why the thought isn't that bad, and trying to justify the thought or think my way out of the thought. So those are the 3 R's. And you might be asking what's wrong with those.
What is the issue?
When you do compulsions such as those, it only makes your anxiety grow. That research will only help me feel better, maybe for a few days, a couple weeks, but I will have another intrusive thought about that or about something similar, and then I'll have to repeat the compulsion all over again.
Treatment.
So now you might be asking, what's the solution? Well, that's something I'm still figuring out. I'm working with a therapist currently that is so great, and she specializes with OCD patients. And we are currently starting CBT and exposure reaction prevention? No, exposure response prevention. Definitely more will be revealed, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video seeing how my treatment is going. People with OCD, or any mental illness for that matter, tend to not look like they're struggling. So here's a reminder to check on your people, check on your family, check on your friends. And if you are struggling as well, please don't hesitate to reach out for help. There's so many resources out there. I'll provide some of those resources down below in the description box, and I'll also be providing my email, and you can reach out to me anytime just for me to be a listening ear. Our struggles may be different, but I'm willing to help in any way that I can. I love you all very much, and I hope you have a great day and a great night. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.